to VHS Voyage, where we are on a journey to find, watch, and discuss movies on VHS that we've never seen or never knew existed. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about
Joe versus the Volcano.
All right, so let's talk about Joe versus the Volcano, a movie starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Devin, hit us with some facts and information about this movie.
So this is directed by John Patrick Shanley, and it's written by him as well. He has only directed 3 movies. This, Doubt from 2008, which y'all will probably know, very Oscar heavily nominated movie starring Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he directed Wild Mountain Time, which was considered to be one of the worst 10 movies that come out in the last 10 years.
Really?
It's basically became a meme of how bad this movie is.
Really? I've never heard of that one. Now, was that before or after this movie?
This just came out like last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's only directed 3 movies over the course of like 30 years, but he's a very famous screenwriter. He wrote 5 Corners, Congo, and Moonstruck. Moonstruck's great. Stars Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Congo, that's actually a guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah, it was like mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
So he wrote those movies. He wrote a lot of other movies too. So he's wrote a lot more than he has directed. IMDb.
Okay, so I feel like this is a movie that's not for everyone. So I feel like some people are gonna be a little harsh on Joe versus the Volcano. So I'm gonna say 6.5.
A little bit lower.
6.
5.9.
Here we go again.
Always 0.1 off.
Always a 0.1
So
off.
yeah, 5.9. Rotten Tomatoes, critic, and audience.
Okay, I'm thinking the Rotten Tomatoes critics might be a little more generous. So I'm gonna go 65.
66.
Look at that.
Which is considered not rotten, which is positive.
Okay. And then user score, oof. Man, that's a tough one. It seems like the users on Rotten Tomatoes can go either way in comparison to IMDb. So I'm gonna go 55.
54.
Well, am I psychic?
You cheated.
Guys, I promise.
He 100%
I did
cheated.
not look at these scores.
He 100% cheated.
I promise.
So yeah, that is considered rotten by the audience, but just barely.
Okay.
Just barely. It had a budget of $25 million. It made $39 million, so it did make its money.
Good deal.
This is probably the most well-known movie we've done so far.
You think so?
I can't remember all the movies we've done, but I would be almost positive this is the most well-known movie so far. I mean, it made $14 million more than its budget. So as Matt said, this stars Tom Hanks. I'm not going to read any Tom Hanks movies that he stars in. I'm sorry.
You guys know.
Yeah.
You guys know what Tom Hanks has been in.
And it has Meg Ryan from When Harry Met Sally, The Doors, You've Got Mail, a bunch of other movies.
Yep.
A lot of Tom Hanks movies too she's in.
Yeah, this probably is the most well-known movie that we've done an episode on so far, but I would say in terms of Tom Hanks movies, I think this is a lesser known in terms of Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, because he's done
movies.
so many just massive movies. This is definitely fallen under. This was before his big break too. Yeah. Right before, probably right around the same time. Right around the same time as that.
Yeah. So what is Joe versus the Volcano about? Well, let me kind of run through what this movie is about in a nutshell. It's very, very unique premise, very interesting premise. Basically, Tom Hanks is kind of a miserable person, not like in his attitude, but just in the way he lives his life. He has this dead-end, miserable, terrible job that he works, and he doesn't feel good. He hasn't felt good in quite some time. He goes to the doctor. The doctor tells him he has, what is it called? Brain fog. Brain fog. Tells him he had, was it brain fog?
Brain cloud.
Brain cloud.
Oh, okay.
It was brain cloud. Yeah. So the doctor tells him that he has brain cloud and that he's going to die in 6 months. But until then, for 4 or 5 months, he's going to be perfectly healthy and just to go live his life the best he can. So that's what he tries to do. He tries to go out and he quits his job and starts to try to live his life the best he can. Well, in comes a strange old man who is very rich, owns a company, and he wants to hire Tom Hanks's character to go to an island in the middle of the ocean and jump into a volcano because the local tribe that lives on this island believe that every 100 years, if somebody doesn't jump into the volcano of their own free will, the island will sink. So the old man makes a proposition. Hey, I'll give you all these credit cards, buy whatever you want, do whatever you want. You know, if you do this for me, The local tribe will let me get some rare minerals that I need to mine for my company, for the product that I sell. And Tom Hanks decides to take him up on that offer and go on this last adventure of his life and, just kind of live it to the fullest and die like a man. That's basically the story of the movie in a nutshell there's some stuff that could be spoiled. I don't want to spoil the ending or anything like that, but anything else you want to add to the story?
Yeah, he's basically kind of just selling his soul basically for a life.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to die, so he's selling it for all this rich money. He's got all this money. So basically, it's basically that. Like he's selling his soul to his ultimate demise that he knows is coming.
Yep, exactly. And speaking of that, while I'm thinking about it, I want to mention a line in the movie that I really like. This was kind of towards the beginning of the movie. There's something wrong with his shoe, and the female employee that he works with, she asks him what's up with his shoe, and he says, "I'm losing my soul," talking about the soul of the shoe.
There was multiple soul references in this movie, like the leader of the tribe and all that. I heard that word a lot in this movie.
What's with the shoe?
I'm losing my soul.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of the themes in Joe versus the Volcano?
Yeah, this definitely deals with kind of the meaning to life, or living it to the fullest.
Right. Time is short.
Time is short. Like doing what you want to do before time is up. Whether it's falling in love or going on vacation, spending money like he does, whatever you want to do. That's basically what it deals with. Yeah. I watched a movie this year called Brazil.
Brazil, okay.
Came out in 1985 from Terry Gilliam. This movie is pretty much a ripoff of that.
Really?
Which
one came out?
Brazil did. Yep. Brazil deals with this very dull man who is unhappy in life. He lives in this version of Earth that is not realistic at all. It's wacky, it's weird, and he basically goes on this weird adventure to find purpose in life and meaning in life. And it's extremely, extremely similar. I'm talking almost dead similar to like where he works. Like this weird bleak world, the weird characters. I mean, I'm watching this going, did they rip that movie off while watching this?
Now, let me ask you this. Is Brazil a foreign film?
It's England, I think. So, yeah. So
maybe this is in a way, maybe this is some kind of like Americanized, inspired version of that.
Brazil's a little more serious. It's still a funny and comedy, and it's more, it's not as silly as this sometimes, but I mean, it's extremely similar. And the entire time I was watching this, I was like, I wonder if this is like some sort of remake of this or something. But I couldn't find any information on that. Yeah. But I was doing research, and I did see a lot of people also said the same thing. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just me saying that. I found a lot of articles referencing the same thing, that it was very similar.
There's a lot of good things about this movie. The acting, of course, is good. Right. Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. I mean, some of the performances, like the old man's daughter, the first daughter that he meets, because Meg Ryan's character, he doesn't meet till like halfway through the movie. She's the old man's daughter that hires Tom Hanks to go to this volcano, and then he has another daughter who Tom Hanks meets before Meg Ryan.
Right, but they're all played by Meg Ryan.
Oh, was that Meg Ryan too?
Yeah.
Really?
All three daughters were Meg. And the woman in the office was Meg Ryan as well.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, they're all three Meg Ryan. Yeah.
Mind is blown. I did not realize that. Wow. So the first daughter that Tom Hanks meets, there's a lot of weird characters in this movie. Yeah. A lot of weird characters, some very strange dialogue, very strange interactions, and the acting, I mean, I didn't have any problems with any of the acting.
Not at all.
I thought it was good.
It was fine, yeah.
Meg Ryan, now that I realize she played all three of those characters, now I'm kind of impressed with how she did. I really liked the way the movie opened, because it opens with all these people going to this company to work, and they're just like zombies, dude. And there's like the whole sequence, and when they're inside, it's devoid of basically color. It's very dull, just like a dungeon, almost like they're going into a dungeon. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought the movie had some pretty decent cinematography. There were some good shots here.
Yeah. So the moon shot was great.
I love the moon shot.
And I was like, in Moonstruck, there's a very famous moon shot in Moonstruck, which is also from this director. In doing some research, I did find out the moon shot is like his thing. Really? He does like the moon shot in most of his movies. It's like his trademark is the moon shot. So interesting. This one looks really good though. This one's really sweet. I really like the soundtrack.
It was a really good
especially the
soundtrack, yeah.
opening song is really good. Literally while we were watching it, I immediately went to Spotify and added it to my Spotify.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like the soundtrack. One thing I didn't necessarily like is I don't know if this movie knows its identity. It starts off in like this depressing world, and then it goes to beaches, and then it's like, oh, it's a romance, and then it's like, oh, it's sad, and then it's like, oh, it's we're on a boat and the boat's sinking, and now we're kind of dealing with more like a more scary, serious moment, and it just bounces around a lot. I don't know, I felt like it didn't really know exactly what it was, and it kind of bounces around a lot, and I feel like it should have stuck to just more kind of a little bit more one thing. I get why it bounced around, because he went from being this really sad guy to this more happy world. Right. But it just kind of bounces around a lot. And sometimes I felt like it didn't know exactly what it was. And then sometimes it goes to like slapstick, goofy comedy, just at random times, like with the shark. So it just kind of bounces around a lot with genres and ideas. Yeah,
I could see that. I kind of, and I could be completely overthinking and overinterpreting this, but I kind of looked at that as like, this is the way life is.
Right,
it's a roller coaster. You know, there's all these different emotions, all these different things, but I could be totally overthinking that. That could be an unintentional, thing in the movie. But yeah, I totally get that. I see that. I feel like this is a movie that I need to watch a few more times, because there's a lot going on in Joe versus the Volcano, and I feel like there's a lot more kind of like hidden meanings and metaphors and allegories or whatever you want to call it. So I feel like there's layers to Joe versus the Volcano that could be peeled back with multiple viewings and kind of analyzing a little bit. Joe versus Volcano, very interesting movie, very unique. Well, I thought it was unique until you said it was similar to Brazil. I wasn't aware of that, but taking that out of consideration, it is very unique. I haven't quite seen anything like it. Love the performances, had some decent cinematography here and there, had a good score, a good soundtrack, some very interesting dialogue, interesting characters. I enjoyed it.
I like it, yeah. Maybe if I hadn't have seen Brazil, I would have thought it was like a little more different, but because I had seen that kind of, and I think it does get a little silly at times, just for me.
It does get there. There's a few silly moments that kind of out of nowhere, like the shark thing.
Like it plays with a good idea of like the meaning of life, which we've seen a lot of movies, but it does this one in like kind of like a quirky, more kind of quirky way. Yeah, I liked it. It was enjoyable. Yeah, I
don't know about you, but I think for me it's a keep it, because I want to watch it again, because I want to see what else I can pick up on, and also knowing how the movie ends, I want to watch it again just to kind of see, what else I can peel back from the movie.
It's a keep it. I don't know if I would watch it again, but I liked it enough to where I would keep it on my shelf just in case if I wanted to. Yeah, I do think it is enjoyable. I don't think you're going to get bored watching this or anything like that. No, and it's very nice to look at, and it's also it's kind of strange. So it's just one of those where you're watching it going like, this is a little weird at times, but in a good way. Yeah, in a good way.
That is it for today's episode of VHS Voyage on Joe versus the Volcano.